Mko wapi? Nimeona almost kila mtu ameshuka hivi. Katika line tu. Yangu iko na 5 weeks. Shuka date 1. Shuka date 1 Feb. Nilishuka date 1 Feb kaniko home, ndio nikakuja shule date 10. Juu ukiniambia ati umesha.
Yes, what's up, wonderful family? Hamjambo, welcome to another great episode. We do hope that everyone is doing fantastic and you are delighted to be with us on these African Ways podcast. As always, we are here to converse, we are here to engage with you. We are here also to build with you, and also we are hoping to keep it connected and interactive on our social media platforms. We are on Twitter, The African Ways. You can also find us on Instagram, The African Way Network, and also on Facebook as well. So feel much welcome to the broadcast. And as always, like I did say, we are hoping to keep it interactive and engage with you on some of these particular matters. My name is Pikes, and we also do have Matano. We are also looking forward to having some other co-hosts as well on the broadcast as we proceed. But of course, you are also part of this particular. Hi, Matano, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome to the broadcast. How is your week coming along?
My week is good.
That is wonderful to hear. And I guess you're not complaining about the hot weather and the hot sun, as other people are complaining. And also complaining about... Yeah, go on.
It is very hot wherever I am currently.
Actually, it's the way it is around the country. And they are saying that the rains will come up in the third week of March. So I believe we still have a few days to go with the sun. Before that, even when we get the rains, people will be complaining about the mud. You know, they do say that human beings are never really content with anything. You will complain about the heat, and then when the rain comes, we complain about the mud. And it's like that. But anyhow, welcome to the broadcast. Today we are looking forward to discussing a wonderful topic. And we are also looking forward to get insight from Matano as well as other co-hosts who will be joining us on the broadcast as we proceed. And before we get into the topic for the day, there are so many things that have also been trending this particular week. And I would say one of the things that has been going on is the issue with the former CS, Interior CS, Cabinet Secretary. His name was Fred. His name is Fred Matiang'i. And there has been a whole lot of hullabaloo on our social media. Some people really supporting him. Some other people also really opposing, really not siding with him on this particular matter. And you know, the question is, when it comes to how he is being treated, or how the investigations or whatever is going on with him is being carried out, some people tend to feel that it might be some sort of a revenge, you know, or it's some sort of whatever some people like to call a witch hunt. But anyhow, regardless of whatever side of the political divide, what I would say for myself is that the rule of should apply to everyone. If you know, not really mischief, but what we would call mapendeleo. I will not really laugh, but the rule of law should actually be instituted so that we can see our country really everyone being dealt with, regardless of whether you're a former CS or even an incumbent one. You know, if you are involved with anything which is wrong and maybe perhaps corruption, then people should, be dealt with equally. But once again, this is African Ways podcast. I don't know how Matano feels about that whole issue with Fred Matiang'i and the government. And the incoming government. What is your thought? Maybe you don't really have to be in depth, but lightly, on a light note, what is your thought on this whole matter with Matiang'i?
Okay, I think there's a time
Yeah,
in the Standard
yeah,
newspaper, the headline was raid after raid, raid after
yeah,
raid, or the
yeah,
hunter becomes the hunted.
mm,
So I think this thing is more
yeah,
of some sort of revenge, because you see that time when Matiangi's home was raided, they say that those were
yeah,
civilian police officers who raided, and the government never
yeah,
approved for his home to be raided. And then
yeah,
currently, we see that he's being
yeah,
held by the DCI with the allegations of
yeah,
looking into the property that he owns. And if we look at some time
yeah,
back, the same thing happened to
yeah,
Ruto, if you can remember.
yeah.
So I
That was,
can
I think, the
say,
deputy president. Yeah, it
yeah,
was
that time when he
Rigathi.
was
It
the
was
deputy
Rigathi they
president.
were looking to. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I can say
yeah,
it is some sort of revenge, because during Uhuru's reign, you remember the
yeah,
last term of Uhuru, there was that fallout between him and Ruto, and some things are just okay. People are saying it is a political game and also a political con, so
yeah,
you cannot know who is telling the
yeah.
truth. So I think it's some sort of revenge to some
We are
extent,
here.
but
We are here. Yeah, yeah.
so I think it's just some sort of revenge.
All right. But John, thank you so much for joining us. How is your day coming along?
My day is fine. Thank you.
Yeah. We're glad to have you on the show as well. And today being International Women's Day, I would just like to ask Matano and also John who they are really celebrating, which women they are celebrating today, being International Women's Day, and also happy International Women's Day to every woman and every lady out there who listens to this particular broadcast. We appreciate you and we thank you so much for being part of the African Ways Network. And for Matano, happy International Women's Day to you too. And also for John,
Thank
who are you
you.
guys celebrating?
Okay,
Welcome. Who are you guys celebrating? Yeah,
for me, I am celebrating my mom. Okay,
yeah,
reason being, she's my mom
yeah,
and my dad. Okay, she's,
mm,
let me say, the only parent that I have. That you know, when you the when how when we are facing some things and you're like, mommy, unajua niko na hii na hii, and there are others also who say, daddy,
yeah,
niko na hii na hii. So me, in that aspect, wherever
mm,
it is dad or mom, any
yeah,
problem affects me. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
I'm celebrating my mom majorly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. For John, who are you celebrating this International Women's Day?
For me, I would start with my mother and my sisters. Yeah, those
Yeah,
were the, let's say, the closest women in my life who have kind of been around all through. And the women out
mm,
here who are just going all out to be the best
mm,
of whom they can be. Yeah.
mm. That is true, because at the end of the day, we have seen our women's contribution in every other sphere, and because we live in a particular actually is undermined, but it's because the society we live in, you will find emphasis being put on men and their contribution to society, their contribution to technology, their contribution to everything else. But we forget to also celebrate our women. I am of the point that some people talk about equality, but I am of the opinion that we can never really have equality, because we can only talk about maybe a man and a woman are supposed to complement each other. They're not supposed to be like really competing and trying sort of have an equality. It's like you'd have why can I don't know if this is a perfect right example, but in a kitchen you would probably have a knife and a spoon. You cannot really, they are of different uses, and they are made for different they are made differently, and therefore you cannot really always talk about equality. But anyhow, my point was that the contribution of women is normally underlooked, and that is why sometimes you will find as not knowing much about the contribution of women in different areas. But on this International Women's Day, we want to celebrate every woman. Also, I would like to celebrate my mother as well. I would also like to celebrate even pioneers, even in other fields. For example, politics. For example, environment. We have had like the one Wangari Maathai, and when she was telling people to plant trees, people were thinking that this is not really quite important. But right now, so many years down the line, people can see the importance of her contribution and also her movement, which was known as the Green Belt movement. I don't know if you guys remember Wangari Maathai and her struggle. Do you? Does any of you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say she was one of the women who was very strong-willed, and she did a lot. And therefore, let's keep on celebrating women, even when it's not the Women's Day. Let's keep on celebrating our women. But going on to the matter of the day today, we want to discuss about the whole issue of depression and suicide rates going high in our country and also in our continent. You know, because we have realized, if you're talking to your friends or if you are actually on social media and you are interacting with people on social media, you realize for the past few years, this whole matter of depression among young people in our nation has gone up. And we would say that depression and suicide, there's a very, very big interlinkage between the two. And sometimes you will find people who have fallen into depression also eventually succumbing and succumbing to suicide. We shall be talking about different cases, or we shall be talking about our experiences, maybe with friends or maybe with people that have undergone depression or even taken away their own minds. Some people understand depression as stress. These two things are actually, I think, sometimes are confused. You would say because someone is stressed, then you might say that they are depressed. But I would say that stress would be an element, would be a small part of depression. And we shall be giving our definition for that because according to the definition, clinical depression, they are different. There is a clinical definition of depression. And this is a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities, causing significant impairment of how someone is able to undertake their daily routine or their work. And this is a mental disorder. So it's a mental problem, but some people do not want to look at it that way. But for the purposes of our definition, yes, clinical depression is a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities. For Matano or for John, what is your understanding of a depression really? Anyone can respond.
I can say depression is a constant feeling of
Yeah,
sadness and loss of interest, which stops you from doing your normal activities.
yeah,
Like, let me say,
yeah,
for me, I am normally a jovial person. In
mm,
in in real sense,
yeah,
I'm a jovial person. There's no time you'll find me sad, but it
yeah,
reaches a point where someone starts
yeah.
noticing, I matano sana, who you see where who you see the normal you like. There's that feeling of you starting to become withdrawn from your members. You have mood swings, like, and like there's that drastic change in patterns of how you are. So I can say depression is the constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest in normal activities.
That is, I agree with you. That is a good definition or viewpoint from you. For John, what is really just you understand? It doesn't have to be the actual definition, but not the definition for someone, for you to say someone is depressed, or for you to see so and so might be depressed. What is your understanding of a definition? So, depression, John.
Uh, for me, thinking of depression, I would say it's
Mm,
withdraw from anything that makes you active enough to live life in its fullest. You see? So that withdraw from wanting to live life in its whole experience, as in working the way you should be, experiencing things in the right way, having
mm,
joy in the right way, that for me is depression basically, because you're withdrawn from everything that maybe used to
mm,
define you, but now it doesn't. You see, so that withdrawal for me is what
mm.
I would define as depression.
And I would say there are so many characteristics of depression. But for the purposes of this conversation for today, I would just say there are so many causes of depression. For example, one of them is money worries. Like I have, it's described or it's shown illustrated on this image. I don't know if you can see these images I'm sharing on my screen. But sometimes
Yeah.
you find people with money worries simply because they are not able to fend for themselves, or they are not able to uh, carry out their obligations when it comes to financial money talking financial expectations. And therefore people end up becoming depressed. First and foremost, I think it comes as stress, and then if stress is not well managed, it eventually becomes a depression. And for there was a time we had an opportunity in campus to go and visit some of the patients at the Matari hospital, which is along Thika Road. And when we were conversing with some of the people there, because some of them are taken there because they are depressed, and maybe because depression is a mental health issue, so they are there to be treated. So we were asking some of these individuals what cost you your troubles, your depression. And they were saying it's because they lacked a job. They did not have a job, and therefore things were very, very tough on them, and therefore they ended up getting depression got out of hand, and therefore they had to be taken to that facility for them to be treated. It's crazy to find that even some things which we do have in our daily day-to-day lives, you might take them for granted, but you have someone else who do not have these things, and therefore they end up finding themselves in depression. Apart from that, you would have job pressure. They would also have family obligations, because especially family obligations, you would find some people having expectations on you. You might be the breadwinner for your family. You might also not just be the breadwinner, but you might also have other different expectations that people have on you, that are result to you becoming stressed and depressed. For you, Matano, or for John, what are some of the things maybe that you think are putting our young people into this situation of finding themselves depressed?
I can say we
Yeah,
have academic pressure in that
yeah, yeah.
uh, there is that course that someone wants to do. So let me use this
Ndio,
example. So you find
ndio.
that most
Mm,
of our parents normally think that medicine, engineering, law
mm,
are the most
mm.
marketable courses in it. If your child is doing medicine,
Yeah,
engineering, law,
yeah,
the shima top. So you hear, well,
yeah.
maybe you want to be a teacher, and your
Mm,
parent is insisting, I want you to be a lawyer, I want you to be an
mm,
engineer. And then that person will say, sini certificate mzazi anataka, wacha niende
mm,
niletee. And when you're in
mm.
school, when you're
Yeah,
doing something that you don't want, you have that
yeah,
pressure from outside. Like your parent is just saying, lazima upite. And these things
yeah,
build up and you become stressed
yeah,
because you're like, how am my mom, I am studying to make my mom happy, not that I am studying to make myself happy. And this one, once someone has the
yeah,
social burden on them, the performance
yeah,
in them is going to be different. So like they're
yeah.
subjected to a lot of pressure and they end up getting depressed. Yeah.
Mm. So say that apart from that, I have had a story where there was someone who was given that kind of an academic pressure. So they were told by their parents, you have to go study this, you have to go study that. You know what they did? They actually went and did the course. And then when they finished with the course, they took the certificate to their dad, or I think, yeah, the certificate that you accorded when you complete a course. And then they told their dad, okay, this is your degree now, and let me now go back to school and pursue my own degree. That is what they did. Walimpelekea Buddha, wakampelekea certificate. It was actually, I think it was a lady who was forced to do a particular course, and the dad was really insistent. Aliambiwa lazima ufanye hii course, huwezi fanya zile zingine, those others are not marketable. So she eventually had to do whatever the dad was saying, because the dad was paying and everything else. But when she completed that course, alienda akaipeleka nyumbani, akasema hii ni course yako. Now let me go back to school and do my own course. And that was crazy. But of course, yes, that is a kind of a pressure that you'd find people also, bringing people into depression. For John, what are some of the things maybe that you think are putting our young people into stress and depression and even eventually committing suicide? Ni vitu gani ambazo umeona kwa jamii? I don't know if John can hear me.
For me, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Carry on.
For me, I think some of the things leading many young people into depression, maybe it's like relationships, when the expectations don't when reality meets their lives and it doesn't go at par with the expectations. For example, they expected to be with someone for long, and then someone turns on them. So this thing of reality not checking in with expectation, that really crushes a lot of young people into depression, because many young people don't know how to handle those stuff right, and many are not ready for them actually. So I think relationships
You're
in a
talking
big
about
way
things.
are contributing to.
I think I would say the wrong relationships, because at the end of the day they call it a character development. Wanasema mtu amepigwa 9-0 and that is a character development. And did you guys hear of these students? These two I will not really call them couples, but there was a guy that killed the girlfriend in Eldoret, and this was a medical student in Eldoret, and it was crazy because this was also I think that went last week, and and chop someone up, chop up the girlfriend. I think he felt rejected. He felt rejected by this woman, this lady, who was a student at a medical student at the university. I think it was Moy University in Eldoret, and the guy felt that this lady was cheating on him, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. And I think he might now. Apologies, guys. We had a bit of a hit with that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sorry,
Now
I
you're
was
good.
talking about the situation. Okay, the situation with the relationships. In case my connectivity is out, you guys can continue conversing and conversing about this whole matter of depression and suicide. But I was saying that there was this medical student at Moy University. Her name was Ivy Wangeshi, and the guy was known as Naftali Kinothia. And the relationship was not going so great, and I think the guy was also depressed, I would say, because for anyone to pick up an axe and chop someone up, someone that they claim to love, I don't know. Did you guys hear about this particular story?
Yes.
It was crazy for anyone to pick up an axe and go cut up, someone into pieces that they are claiming to love. I think maybe some demon had come upon them. Go on.
Actually, according to the court proceedings, because I think
Yeah.
Naftali was arraigned in court recently, so he said that
Yeah, he
he
was.
traveled all the way to
Yeah.
Eldoret because they had
Yeah.
had a disagreement live. So he had gone to see
Yeah.
him see her because it was also her birthday. And when he got
Yeah.
there, he saw her
Yeah.
hugging and holding hands with another man. And he says that he don't know what came over him. He just got an axe from his
Yeah.
car boot and
Yeah.
started, yeah, whatever he did. He said that he was not in his right mind. I
Damn.
think he was depressed because from what he did not expect.
Uh, yeah, that is something that you cannot really even tell what came over his or came over him. But apart from that, I would just like to talk because sometimes when you're talking about depression, I would just like to ask maybe Matano or John, how would you know that someone is depressed? Because recently, as recent as last year, there was a DJ at Capital FM who took away his own life, and he was a very jovial guy, working in the office, even doing mixes there and everything else. But how exactly would you know that someone is depressed? Because sometimes it's there in your face, but you can't see it. How would you really tell? That is according. How would you tell if someone is depressed or if they are not? Is it possible to tell for anyone if anyone is depressed?
Yeah, it is possible
Yeah.
because
How would you know?
you can
Yeah.
find that. Okay, let me use an example of me. So,
Yeah.
okay, I have experienced it to some extent, but
Yeah.
I did not allow it to
Yeah.
get over me. So, I had
Yeah.
these changes. Okay, it was my friend who was telling me that I nowadays you're not eating, like you
Mm,
like sleeping all the time, which is so unusual of you. You're not talking. Like
mm,
they know I did,
mm,
and they were like, "What is happening? Can you just tell us?" No, and they say that when you have
mm,
someone to talk to, which is going to help. And also, if you feel like
mm,
someone is not going to help, you can write it down. But someone can notice that there is that
mm,
drastic change in your
mm,
behavior, like how you are just different from the normal you.
mm,
Because you can be that person who wakes up, greets everyone, is all jovial, laughing, talking to everyone. But when depression starts to hit you, you're different, you're silent,
yeah.
you're always in your own space, you're just there. Like time is passing by and you don't
Yeah.
even notice. Inafika saa kumi ndo nasema oh kumbe itu I was supposed to be having
You do
lunch.
not.
Yeah, like you don't notice, like you're just in a different world from a world that the rest are in.
Okay, and also there are some other symptoms that have also been given. For example, feeling of a sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, hopelessness. Even having angry outburst, being irritable very easy. Being also prone to frustration very easy. You even upset over small matters. You see, for example, someone might even step on your feet as they're passing by, and you feel like the whole world has crashed because someone has just stepped on your toes. And there's also loss of interest and pleasure in almost normal activities, including your hobbies. If you like interest, there's that loss of interest, or even in pleasure in activities. There's also mood swings. There's also excessive hunger, sometimes excessive fatigue, loss of appetite, restlessness. Sometimes you might feel like someone is coming after you. All those other kinds of things. For John, let me engage John and ask him, how would you know if your friend or if someone close to you is really depressed, or even yourself? You might even be depressed yourself, and you might not know it. For John, how would you tell if someone is really depressed?
Okay, I don't think I'm depressed. Uh,
I'm not sure whether John.
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
John, I think we lost your audio, but I think come again. Maybe I might hear you now.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was asking you, how would you know if someone is depressed, or even yourself? How would you know if someone is depressed? Because I was saying sometimes even colleagues do not notice it. Even colleagues, even family members.
Yeah, true. I think with that generation, it's, let me say, a bit harder to know if someone is really depressed,
Yeah,
especially knowing we're living in a world of assumptions. You see someone
yeah.
acting in a certain way, and you just assume, yani hadi ushindani. So
Ama
it's a
utasema
bit
ako on
harder.
drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You see such assumptions,
Utasema ako mavitu. Yeah,
but then at the end of the day, there are those little things that they
yeah.
start changing, and they inform you this person, something is changing within them, and if you are keen enough, that would be
Mm,
easy to note. It's like maybe the person gets, like you've said, irritable very easily,
mm,
and
mm,
gets temperamental very easily, too
mm,
evil.
mm,
Yeah, so
mm,
and withdraw from maybe wanting to be among people, kujifungia
mm,
sana, such little things.
mm,
I think those are
mm.
some of the things you can look into to see if someone is depressed.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% because sometimes people even do not want to be talked to. Matana was saying that if you have a friend, they would know, but sometimes people do not even want to talk to, especially men. We would like to shed a light on our men because men do not like to open up. They say opening up is a scam because you open up to someone, and the next thing you know that they are using the same thing that you open up to them about to put that on your name. And for women, I think it might be easier for them opening up. You find women finding it easier. Or would you agree, Matana? Do you think that it's easier for women to open up and speak about the issues bugging them than it is for men?
Okay, women, it is very easy for them to open up because, okay, let me
I'm not
just
sure
say
whether
this.
you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, you can respond. John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
So I was saying,
Yeah.
it
Go
is
on.
easy for it is easy for women to open up because like they
Yeah.
say women are vulnerable. So like when
Mm.
you start engaging into a talk with someone and they feel kind of emotional and they'll be like, unajua by that mimi sijakwambia, unajua pia mimi, and they start telling you whatever is
Okay.
there.
Mm.
Yes, and
Mm.
there is this thing called the girlfriends
Mm.
group, like wasichana marafiki, and you
I
have
would
that
agree. I
probably.
would agree with you on that. Why do you think is I think called what?
The girlfriend group.
You saying there's a thing called what?
I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so I was saying there's this thing ladies have,
Yeah, I
they
can
are
hear you
a
now.
group of
It's a bit
girls.
of a hit on my end, but I can hear you. You're saying girls even have groups and but don't
I think we're losing you, Spikes.
Yeah, I
things
think
that you
let
tell
us
someone,
just,
they will also use them against you.
yeah,
Can you
some
turn
of
on?
them, okay, in cases like
Oh, okay,
you're a
okay.
friend,
Yeah, yeah,
you're a friend with, you have a friend, a girl who is your friend, right? Like you also have female friends. So you find that I open up to them, and there's that time you may have a misunderstanding with your female friend. You know how ladies act on, let me say they have that, they act on impulse. Like they immediately, they get mad and then they go to a different friend of theirs and they're like, you know what, mimi ya mama amenibona. Kwanza jana unajua alikuwa ananiambia sijui yako na nini na nini nini na nini. Like it is very easy for them to do that. Yeah.
we also do find that for men it's hard to open up. John, I would just like to ask you, where do you think it's difficult for men to open up?
Uh, for men, man, I think it's super hard. It's the place of trusting someone enough to get to that point of vulnerability, like
Yeah.
you've said. Yeah, so I think men, let's say they fear opening up actually because of that
Yeah.
vulnerability as a man, because there's that societal expectation of you as a man to be strong,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you anyway, it's enough to cause you not to want to open up.
But let me ask now, because when it comes to help, how can people find help? How can young people find therapy? Is one of the ways in which people can get assistance, but therapy is also expensive. What are some of the ways maybe people can get assistance from if they are in a depressed situation? For Matano, what do you think are some of the ways in which people can find help?
I can say you stay involved, like you
Can you hear me?
socialize. Like, yes, I can hear you. So I was saying
Yeah.
you stay involved, like socialize
Yeah.
with people. Like you think that the circle that you are in is the one that is causing you to be depressed.
Yeah.
Try creating extra networks, like get out of that circle, try and make another network with different people, get to know more people. Like, don't stick to that group of 10 people that you say these are friends. So meet people, learn new things. And you know, when you go for these social activities, if you're having stress or some kind of, like, you just feel you don't you feeling like you're not yourself, when you go for these events, like let's say there's a fun day somewhere you decide to go, it is going to help you a lot because you're going to forget what was happening. Like, you're going to free yourself, you're going to relieve yourself, and you'll end up feeling good. And even maybe if you are having some negative thoughts, they're going to just go away because at least you found something that kept you busy, kept you happy and jovial. Yeah.
I think I agree with you 100%. And maybe perhaps even meditation. You know, sometimes I think we are so much plugged onto social media, plugged onto other things that are happening around us, and we lack time to meditate. I think meditation will be one of the ways in which people can get to plug into within, you know, plug in within. Apart from that, make sure that you connecting with nature and also being part of a group that can help you out.
Yeah.
Medical help, because sometimes people think that seeking medical help is weakness. You know, that is not weakness. You know, the minute that you admit that you are depressed and you're not in a good situation, I think that would help people, young people, find some help. I was saying it is very expensive, and I would like to urge the government and also other health agencies to make sure that they are reducing the cost of mental health treatment. You know, young people need access to these facilities. Apart from that, I think there are also other platforms such as I think Capital FM put together a platform for people to speak out on their matters. What is it? Is it Bonga? It's called Bonga, which is a platform for young people that they can actually go and use. Because sometimes you find people keeping quiet. Maybe they could use these toll-free lines to call and be heard, you know, express their issues. Because instead of committing suicide or being depressed to a point where you're not even able to eat, you're not even able to do this and that, I think there also needs to be that kind of a platforms, more platforms being opened up for young people to be able to plug in. Yeah, go on.
Because
Yeah,
there's this
say
country
something.
that has there's this country that has those telephone booths, like, and they even have those posters that when you feel like committing suicide,
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear Matano.
Oh, I think I lost Matano as well. I don't know what happened to Matano. For you, John, what do you think will be some of the solutions as we winding up? Because we almost are winding up. I think this is a whole big topic that we cannot converse in an hour. Also, it needs, engagement on a different levels and also longer sessions. But what are some of the solutions maybe you would ascribe to this problem?
For me, about depression, especially I would base it for the men, because I was looking at the statistics, and the higher number of suicide cases in Kenya are for men. So it's men. And honestly, men have so many things to deal with in our society. Yeah, a lot of burden is on the men. So I feel it's all about creating safe spaces with accountability partners, people we can turn to talk to. You know, you say a problem shared is half solved. So learning to open up,
True.
men need to learn how to open up, like to understand it's not weak and it's actually a safe space for yourself when you open up. So I think safe spaces of opening up and having accountability partners, and as you've said, raising organizations or foundations that are willing to help these people in their time of need, such that they can call in any hour to get professional counseling or help. I think that would really go a long way in helping the society.
Mm. And I think also changing our society perspectives, because sometimes people who are depressed, they are sort of shunned away. And, instead of helping these individuals, you do find that the society has a wrong perspective. They think, oh, some of these people are bewitched. Some of these people have stolen other people's things, and someone has done something to them. Mtu ameenda kwa waganga akawaroga. Sometimes you do find people are depressed for different reasons, but the society has a wrong approach, or the perspective of the society is wrong. And I agree with you. Those are some of the good solutions that we might ascribe to this problem of depression and, as you said, among young people. Matana, you're back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We were just talking about some of the solutions that we can ascribe to this problem of high depression and suicide rates among young people. And Matana was talking about even having John was talking about even having accountability partners, or even being part of a group. In the olden days, in the African way, there was age groups and age sets. You used to belong to a certain age group and age set, and people, you speak out their things, and people, you do things communally, and that would help them from being alienated. So for Matano, maybe as we wind up, give us maybe some of your solutions that you would ascribe to this problem as we wind up.
Okay, though it is not a major one, I can say you say no to
Yeah.
liquor, like alcohol and substance abuse, because most people think that liquor is the solution to every problem. And it's
Yeah.
like, mi niko na mashida mingi, acha niende ni call it shots, alafu nitasikia vizuri.
Yeah.
Actually, drinking can make the symptoms of depression worse, and
Yeah.
it can even result into negative interaction.
Mm.
Maybe for someone who is having medications, you're
Mm.
depressed, you go for
Yeah.
alcohol, the meds
Mm.
are not going to work as how they should be working. So like you just say no to alcohol and
Yeah.
substance like drugs. Yeah, it is going to help
Yeah.
instead of putting it at the back that nikilewa shida zangu zote zitaisha. So kama shida zitaisha when you get sober,
You
are the
were.
problems will the problems have gone
Yeah.
away, or are they going to still be there? They are still there. So like avoid
They
those
will. They
ones.
will still be there waiting. Yeah, I agree with you. With drug and alcohol abuse, that should actually not be a solution. But I want to thank everyone who has it's a delight to have you tune into the African Voice podcast, because at the end of the day, we build each other. They do say iron sharpens iron. And when we get together, two heads are better than one. And therefore, we are able to bring as we wind up. I think I don't know if Matano is still with us, but thank you to everyone that has been with us on the broadcast. And I think till next time, I want to wish you a happy and a productive rest of the day, unless John or Matano has anything to add on to that.
No, I don't just wish them a good week ahead, and also
Yeah.
let us let us try and be there for us the millennials. Our parents tell them to be there for one another. It's like
Yeah.
preaching wine to them. So
Yeah.
like let us be there for one another as the millennials, because it's
Yeah.
only us who can help each other out. Let us not
True.
ignore the little signs that we see. Like let us look at everything as something that can be productive. Yeah.
That is absolutely true. For John, your closing remark, maybe?
For me, I think I'll just conclude in matters suicide and depression. We
Yeah.
often say it's okay to be okay, but I feel as if our generation should also understand it's okay to be strong. So they
Mm.
should go out there and build the emotional intelligence such that they're able
Yeah.
to handle things in the right way. You can't be succumbing to every little thing that happens in your life. So
Mm.
let's go out there. Let's build that inner capacity to be strong enough to handle the issues of life. Life has
Mm.
its storms in every way,
Yeah.
so we've got to learn how to handle them.
That is absolutely true. As we wind up, we also know that Matano has a podcast. Tell us where we can find your podcast, Matano, as well as John. How can you find your podcast, Matano, then John?
You can find my podcasts at Anchor FM. Yeah,
Yeah.
Smiles for Life. That's the name. So yeah,
Smiles for Life. Okay, that's what's up. For John, how can people find your podcast?
Mine, they can also find it on the same platform,
Anchor.
Anchor.fm. And also
Yeah.
on Spotify, it's the JW Podcast.
The JW podcast. That's our WhatsApp, our family. For anyone who is tuning in, thank you so much. And of course, make sure you check out Smiles for Life by Matano podcast and also the JW podcast by our brother here, John Wangoi. We thank you so much, and I wish you a happy and productive rest of your week. Till next time, much peace and love. Catch you on Saturday from 5 p.m. to 6. Is it no? From 3 p.m. I believe on Saturday. And let's keep it. Let's keep it interactive there on as well. Thank you so much, Matano. Thank you so much, John. Let's keep on having these conversations, and let's keep on also building each other with the info. Till next time, peace and love. I would say kwaheri.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.